There we go. Forgot to change the title and everything. Subscribe to earn drops. Oh. Okie dokie. Let us okay, have to open the game and get my model on screen. Whoop. No worries though, there's no rush. We can take things slow. Also, I forgot last time that I to link the server on chat. I am a bit lost. Okay, it was here. Okay, go. Let me just copy that. The Celeste prophecy. Hello, yeah, good to see you. Hello. Okay, let me need to decrease the volume. Decrease? Turn it down. Ba-ba-ba-bum. Actually capture the game. Okay, that works. Should I make myself smaller? No. I drew that shit. I want it to be seen. Okay. I want it to be seen, god damn it. Okay. So let's remember how to play this game. Also, I'm trying like different audio settings for my voice this time. So if anything sounds off, you can let me know. I don't want you to hear my breathing or anything. You know, it is impossible. No way. To outrun your own reflection. That's true. Okay, yeah, I remember where we left off. Theo, you're awake. Hell yes. Am I? I'm skeptical. I had a messed up nightmare. Yeah, about that. Wait. Oh, yeah, but it's all coming back to me now. That actually happened. Thanks for getting us out of there. I'm glad we were in it together. I don't know if I could have done that alone. What the hell? How long was I out for? What's really going on here? Huh? She drinks often, so relatable. Not for me. How long was I out for? What's really going on here? I don't remember having... I don't remember this at all. The choices and the song here? I don't remember the song. What the hell? How long was I out for? What's really going on here? Is there a... Madeline Root? Is she the heroine of this visual novel? Clearly this isn't a normal mountain. What's really going on here? I should have told you sooner. Back at the old ruins, part of me escaped from a mirror. A part I'm not very proud of. I swear I dreamt it. You think the mountain made her real? Hmm. Yeah. She's been haunting me the whole time. She lashed out at Mr. Oshiro. I think she was the reason the Gonzales stalled out. And she was there in the temple. Why didn't you say something? I wouldn't have gone into the temple if I knew what this mountain was capable of. I thought I was crazy. I tried to stop you. You could have mentioned that your demon doppelganger was on the loose. Come on, Theo. You know how crazy this sounds. I didn't even believe myself. Okay. I understand. Next time, just talk to me, though. I promise I'll believe you. Okay. What the hell is this? Whoa, okay. What the hell? I actually really like this. Like this right here, that you can choose not only an option for Theo, but also for Madeline. Perhaps visual novels could learn from this. All visual novel developers. Anyway. How long was they out for? Must have been a few hours. Damn, what a ride. Tell me about it. The visual novel elements. Hell yeah. Are you okay? I mean, aside from the existential crisis? Yeah, I'm fine. It's a normal Tuesday. Why is it so easy for you to trust me? Seriously, you barely know me. Honestly. You remind me of my sister. That's adorable. What's she like? Oh, you'd love her. Actually, you might not get along at first, but you'd eventually love her. She's a literal rock star. She's a musician? That's so cool. Thank you. Okay, she's not literally a literal rock star. Alex is just amazing at everything. She's studying to be a civil rights lawyer. How do I remind you of her? You both have orange hair. You both live so deep inside your own heads. Oh. Alex has this amazing internal compass. It's obvious that she'll get where she needs to be. I can see that in you too. I wish I could say the same for myself. She's just like, really though? Are you kidding me? You're the one who's dead set on climbing this mountain. And you don't even know why. That's classic Alex. I'm just teasing you. Why are you climbing the mountain anyway? You're right, I don't even know why. I just had to get out of my head. I'm stuck in a cycle. You're preaching to the choir here. I've had many a soul-destroying day job. Hey man. I get you. Work is fine actually, I simply hate living. I'm going crazy. I can't stop thinking about dumb crap that doesn't matter. Actually the same. My brain fixates on these stupid things that happened forever ago. I should be over them. None of it even matters. I'm good at keeping up appearances, but the truth is I'm barely holding it together. Sorry, that's pretty rough stuff. Can I help? You're already helping. Feels good to say it out loud. You don't talk to anyone about it? No, not really. My mom knows I get depressed and have panic attacks. That's about it. No wonder you feel trapped. How do you cope with anything? Cope? I drink. So that's what you meant. She's so real. I drink mostly and get mad at people on the internet. Yo, why she's just like me for real, for real. Holy shit, okay, there is dialogue here. Hehe. And the subtle foreshadowing, please. Shut the fuck up, that is so funny. Okay, we're into the emotional stuff. Nowhere we're gonna like ask this. So cool about talking about your depression. What country is this, by the way? Uh-huh. Yeah. Would you mind talking about what depression is like? I'm currently writing a paper on depression. It sucks. Well, yeah, but what does it feel like? Alex struggles with it too. I really want to understand. We can talk about something else if you want. It's like I'm at the bottom of the ocean. I can't see anything in any direction. It's claustrophobic, yet I feel exposed. I remember feeling normal. But now it feels just out of reach no matter what I try. Then again, I was probably always messed up. And the drinking, you know, like, the drinking. It just took something hurtful to bring it out. There must be something wrong with me. Whatever happened, I'm sure it's not your fault. I guess I thought that I could. I don't know. I'm just floating in this abyss, swimming in a random direction. Hoping that I find something. That's really why I'm here. Okay, well, I remember feeling normal. Now I'm an alcoholic. Exactly. Okay, so let me drink some water first. Actually, I should put it somewhere more accessible to me. Perhaps here. No, I'll just put it. I'll just put it back where it was. Probably gonna. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. What? What was I talking about? Oh yeah. I just came like to stream from watching an hour-long like interview kind of between like a philosopher, YouTuber, philosopher fella. I talking about like existential crises and the myth of Sisyphus, and now here I am, like reading about existential crises, like here in Celeste. Really funny, but I can't escape myself. And like hair. I said it like hair, like the stuff that you have on top of your head. But yeah, basically like Madeline having like this existential moment. I just got out of the shower where I was honestly cooking a whole video about comic making. Hell yeah. Where's my stream of that? Yeah, like Madeline with her like being swimming in the middle of the ocean, right? And like not knowing where to go, being aimless and everything, and like her trying to find like meaning and climbing the mountain and everything. Yeah, anyway. Because shower thoughts made me remember how people are wrong about CSM SAR quality dropping from part 1. Oh, cool. Um, as for like Chainsaw Man, part 1, part 2. Hmm. Of course, I've noticed like changes because I feel like there are changes, of course. But I feel like the main, like the core of Fujimoto's art, which is like I feel like it's like really, how to say this, like founded in composition or like concepts. Um, I don't think like the technicalities or like the, how to say this, because I feel like most people, when they talk about like Fujimoto's art style in part 1 versus part 2, they mostly like part 1 over part 2 because it's like more refined, so to say, right? I feel like in part 2 it's like more gritty. I'm not sure if it's the right word, but I kind of like them both, you know? There are changes, but if you honestly compare both, it has basically only improved. Exactly. The execution was never the main appeal, and his vision and construction has massively improved. Yeah, I think so. I think so. Like, I don't remember much, so I cannot like make a huge comment out of it. But I feel like the main core, like from what I remember, the main core of his art is still there. You know, like it's still like Fujimoto art, and it has the same quality to me. I think my cat just woke up from a nightmare. Started meowing scarily. I, I, I don't think my microphone registered my sat no. Yeah. Give it food. No, you don't remember because part 1 is genuinely repetitive and bland. Oh, cool. Cool, actually. Holy shit. Oh, part 2 did not have this issue at all. Cool. Then I should definitely reread it. I am like definitely interested in like witnessing that growth. Good stuff. The liner is much bolder, giving it an overall rougher look. Yeah, I've noticed that. Thoughts I will never put out because I am lazy. Fair enough. Yeah, I've noticed the rougher look, and I actually kind of like it. Like, I wouldn't say like over part 1, but I would say like it's a different kind of like. Oh, is it pronounced shulk? I thought it was you. Oh my god. My worldview has... Also, hi, Shu. Alrighty. Yeah. It's from Dave, I see. Hello, Bard. Okay. Well, I'm literally fighting myself the entire way. Entire way through what? I forgot. Maybe this is all pointless. But actually, Oliver Camus said... but actually, Nietzsche... Nietzsche... What the hell am I saying? Madeline, you just saved my life. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, so... Theo here is stating like... that meaning is found not necessarily in pleasure, but like in the goodness of your actions. Right? I don't know. That's not pointless. Oh, actually? Am I onto something? Yeah. Look, you're a good person. You're a little intense, but you're a good person. I think you're just trying to push out of that rut you're stuck in. Good, right. And that's a totally legit reason to climb the mountain. Maybe. That's helpful. This part of you that's haunting you, maybe she comes with the territory. So you think I'm stuck with her forever. Well, she's stuck with you too. That's not helpful. Although it is. It kind of is. Like, acceptance and commitment to build out of the foundation of the inherited truth. This game is so big, it's even all about reaching a physical peak. Literally. Literally. Acceptance of the self and the inherited truth, and building on top of that foundation in order to find not necessarily meaning, but like enjoyment. Okay, so what the hell? What the hell are we choosing here? What brought you to the mountain? No, I'm not doing that. No, yeah, actually, I'm doing that, but later. Why not take a vacation instead? Do you want to destroy this part of you? Will that hurt you too? If I don't, she's just going to keep bullying me. She says she's protecting me, but that's obviously not true. Maybe she thinks she is. Maybe she is your inner child, and she is trying to protect you from the outside world by doing what she learned to do when she was not able to rationalize things so, like, adultly. I have no idea what that emote is. Is that a cupcake? She could be some kind of twisted defense mechanism. Yeah. You see? Honestly, who cares? She has so much control over me. It's peak. Oh yeah, right? I hate it. I also love cupcakes. Maybe you can learn to control her instead. The feather helps a lot. Holy shit, my monitor's fucking falling apart. Thanks for teaching me that. Just one of my grandpa's many nuggets of wisdom. Oh, okay, so we can finish the conversation there. Yeah, I don't care about who built the temple. It's literally mountain slab somi. What brought you to the mountain? Thanks. Why not take a vacation? Oh yeah. Why not take a vacation instead? What do you mean? Dude, you needed a change, so you chose to climb a mountain. Why not do something relaxing instead? Go to Hawaii or like take a bath. Like take a shower, you know? Something good for a change. Mountains love girl, no. Oh, mountaintop. I am so sorry. The internet has corrupted me. Also, I have bad sight, bad vision. Mountain slab. Okay. I was like, internet brain rat got hold of you real bad, yeah, basically. I thought of like the game Peak. Like the game called Peak. Mountain Slope. Oh, that's fun. Okay. I guess I feel like I need to accomplish something. It sounds like you have enough on your plate already. You sound like an overachiever. I guess it is kind of extreme. But that's how I am. I need something to challenge me. And I can't just do something a little bit. It's all of me or nothing. Oh. Okay, cool, yeah. How about you? What brought you to the mountain? I'm just kind of bumming around, as usual. Started this new job in Seattle. I thought I finally knew what I was supposed to be doing with my life. But I hated it. So I quit after a week and hopped a bus to Canada. I just felt this urge to get lost in the middle of nowhere. Now that I'm saying it out loud, I realize how flaky it sounds. It just sounds like you're under a lot of pressure. Not really. Everyone is so patient with me. So I guess I am putting a lot of pressure on myself. People always think I'm comparing myself to Alex, but I swear that isn't the problem. I'm just worried that I'll never figure out where I'm going. You said you wanted to feel lost. Maybe you should embrace that for now. Embrace the the meaninglessness. Yeah, okay, maybe. Interesting. Are you close to your grandpa? Yeah, I was. Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay, that's just how it is. All I can do is stay positive. And live a meaningful life, because that's what he would want. Embrace the fault of the foundation or something. Yeah, exactly. Embrace the cycle. Embrace the suffering. Not necessarily find joy in it, but find meaning. I'm so sorry, Theo. Thanks. Okay, maybe not meaning. Hang on. I'm gonna go back on my words. Maybe not meaning to the suffering, but like meaning to the bigger picture. You know? Like not justifying the suffering, but looking at it and accepting it as part of something more. You know? Okay. What else did you learn from your grandpa? Yep. I already said that, so much stuff. Actually, he was the one who told me about Celeste Mountain. He always said that this place changed his life. After I quit my job in Seattle, I realized how close I was to it. Viktor Frankl has a whole therapeutic view on it, logotherapy. Logo. I completely forgot the origin of the word logo. Viktor Frankl. Sounds familiar though. Probably a philosopher / psychologist, since you said therapeutic. Oh right, okay. I do know the guy then. Guy who survived the Holocaust and then went on to assist people in their way smaller problems. Right. Has he published stuff? I would like to read it. I've been feeling intellectual lately. I've been reading stuff. Grandpa said that the mountain was special. Do you think he went through the temple like us? Do you think he understood the power of the mountain? And they became a sect. Madeline, Theo, they created a cult about the mountain, for real. He never talked about what happened here. I'm Doubt your grandpa was as messed up as me. His experience was probably less violent. He found the mountain before I was born. I don't know what he was like before that. I wonder what he learned about himself here. Interesting. His, I believe, first book called En Busca de Sentido in Portuguese. And you can also find some lectures he did on YouTube. So it's worth checking it out right now even. The best reaction content on the platform. First book. Okay. I will note that in my mind. Victor Frankl. I remember watching videos about the guy. Yeah. Okay. I'll look it up. Thank you for that. Who do you think built the temple? The Aztec civilization. Thank you, Theo. For believing in me back there. I mean... Okay, I need water. Reacting to philosophy takes. Reacting to the meaninglessness of the world on stream live. With a with a PNG tuber model and the candy themed overlay. I have a flower on my head. Reacting to the foundations. Believing in you was the easy part. I wish I could have helped. I was pretty useless, stuck in that thing. You actually helped a lot. Honestly, I couldn't have made it without your support. Oh my gosh, you unlocked a... Okay, I love this shit. I love this, that you unlocked like the... I want to remember about this night, like that option of dialogue by going through the conversation. Yeah, good stuff. Of course, like emulating the feeling of like a closeness, of course. Yeah. Big game. Hell yeah, Celeste. You know what? I want to remember this night. Let's take a selfie. I thought you'd never ask. Did something happen to the screen? Did my game stop responding? Oh, never mind. I'm chilling. Hell yeah, they look super cute. They look really cute. I love that for them. You know, despite everything, it's still you. Hahaha, Undertow meme. I feel pretty good right now. Holy shit, look outside moment when you brush your teeth. Strangely, you feel great. Wait a second. Did you just reference look outside? We're going to reach the summit tomorrow. Don't jinx it. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to put this all behind me. I'll be cheering you on. We should get some sleep. Okay. Good night, Theo. Thanks for being cool and handsome and beautiful hair and what can I say? It comes naturally. The hair as well. I love it when my hair grows naturally. Can I grab him and throw him like before? Oh no. Well. Time to remember how to play this. Okay. Stream down? No way. Really? Hello? Like it's a telephone. Can you hear me? Perhaps like a reload? Not on my end. Oh, Nyak. Oh, crap. Oh, hey, hang on. What's here? Oh, there's nothing here. Okay. Something here? Nope, nope, nope. Okay. Oh, okay, whoa. Okay, I like this. You know, since I'm just talking about what the hell? Since I'm just talking about like random stuff, I want a keyboard. I want like a softer sounding keyboard. Like a cute one. Ow. It's mega dying for me, not even having this issue on another stream. Oh no. Oh, what? Oh, this is cool. Yeah, let's go to space. The northern lights are so beautiful. Yeah, they are. Where are we? We need to talk. Welcome to my TED Talk. Okay. I finally understand who you are. You're not my true reflection. I'm not? You're everything I need to leave behind. You're cruel, paranoid, controlling. Why would you say that? Oh, it's okay. I understand now. I don't need you anymore. So you're just abandoning me? I'm setting you free. We'll both be so much happier. You're so stupid. You think you can just leave me behind? You think you can blame everything on me? You think you're above me? Answer me. Calm down, please. Calm down. Breathe, Madeline. Just a feather. Gaming. I am so gaming right now. This is it. Final boss. Oh, no, 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 no. Shit, shit, shit. Okay, there we go. Nah. No. God dang it. You're going to think about a feather to stop me. Feather. You're not above me. And you can't climb this mountain. It's time to accept that. Actually... Madeline, what's happening? Play. We're effing dead. Into the dungeon with you. Oh, can I move? No, okay. Okay. Oh, cool. Fastest swimmer. Are you? Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Holy. I didn't know it worked like that. Whoop, whoop. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Angry dog. Okay. Uh, okay. Holy. No, okay. I don't know what to do when I'm... Ow. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Oh my god. I'm still remembering how to play, so... Whoa. I forgot to go up with you. Oh. Oh my god. I'm scared of you. Whoa! Oh my god. Ow. I don't remember this. Oh, I remember this. Oh. That was just shameful. Oh no, we cannot just do that. What? Ah, okay. That is so scary. Also, Nyak, I don't know if you the issue is gone now. Does it happen on other devices? Ah! Ouch. Are you still here with us? Oh, okay. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Oh, wow. Ouch. Yeah, I feel like my keyboard is going lol. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, cool. What? Oh, okay, that works. Well, that's... Okay, that didn't work. Oh my... Okay, we had to use inertia. I'm here, yeah, cool, 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 cool stuff. There we go. Okay. Uh-huh. Lip. Oh, okay. I was so close. It's over now. Why won't you leave me alone? I hate her. But she's part of me. I'll never be able to get rid of her. She was right. I couldn't climb the mountain. Fair enough. Oh. Okay. Well, this seems a little bit hard. Oh no, actually no. I just need to Wing it. Oh no, actually not through that. Not through there. Oh, okay. I forgot. What? Hmm. Okay, hang on. I forgot to get my dash back. Hang on. There's something. Yeah, no, I cannot get out of here. But it has to smash something. Ish. Perhaps this? No! I got. Oop. The only solution to this that I can think of is violence. Is that a metaphor for life as well? But What are? Oh, can I not swim it? Minecraft style. Wow. Okay. Somehow, I thought that was going to work. Okay. Um. Hmm. Okay. Oh, do I have to use inertia again? No. No idea what I have to do here. Oh, okay. So many neurons firing. Right. Isn't it a beautiful thing? Ah, well, what? Okay. Ow. That was productive. What about this? Oh, hang on. Oh god, please. There we go. Okay, I get it. Oh no, this is a B-side. Okay, my hands are cold. Okay. Okay, I need to have some more patience. Less patience. Okay, yeah, more patience. I get it. No, I don't get it. I hate macaroni and cheese. What does that mean? Is this more foreshadowing? Is there macaroni and cheese at the peak? Is this what it was all leading to? Oh no, shit, fuck, crap. Okay. I'll send you Discord, hang on. Oh, okay, beautiful. Oh my gosh. Oh, God. No. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, let me start again. Okay. I didn't even need. Oh. Okay. That was mind-boggling. Hooray. How's it going, Zumnari? Hello, Snuggles. Nice to see you here. It's all going good. It's all going pretty cool, pretty cool. We're just climbing on, starting the week. How's your day been going so far? Trying to figure this out. I thought I found the way to progress, but I just got a B-side thing. So, no idea. And this isn't good. It's been a nice day upward for me. Oh, that's good. Days off are always good, always good. I like them. Is the feather enough to get somewhere? Oh yeah, it actually is. Okay. Oh, oh, you can get somewhere else. Okay. Okay, interesting, interesting. Loop. Okay. Okay, even more stuff. Oh, is this the main route? Is this what I'm supposed to do? So then I should go back to the alternate thingy here. I hope. Let's see. Why did I come here? Okay. Should have gone with a block. Okay, actually, how do you do that? Hang on. What? Oh my god. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Okay, okay, I get it now. Loop. Okay, so that's enough. I don't know what I did there. I have like the perfect mind, like image in my mind. I just have to execute it. I thought I heard my alarm clock. What? Okay. Yeah, okay, cool. So this is the alternate thing. I am assuming. What if you go back? What if you go back? Ow. Oh, there's nothing here. Oh. Well, that was an assumption. Okay, I see it. Oh, okay. Okay, I have to get my dash back. I get it. No, I just needed inertia, but there. Oh, music is changing. Okay, there are many paths that I can take. I am overwhelmed with choices. Okay. Ow. Oh, okay. What is that thing? And I cannot go back. There go my choices. That's a shame, honestly. Yeah. What do you do? Oh, pinball. Okay. Whoop. Whoop. Huh? Where can I go? Okay, I could have just... Okay. Hmm. Oh, okay, no worries. Why is there a platform in there? Okay, no reason. Oh, I like those things. I don't know. And go. Okay, no. I can just ignore it and go here. So many choices, I don't get it. I can go down here. Okay, I forgot to dash. It's all fine. Ow. It's all good. Ouch. Ow. Okay. Can we break this? Nope. Oh my gosh. Even more choices. Something finding your own way. This is so fun. Ow. There we go. Do-do-do-do-do. Oh, okay, and it gets you out of that state. Where was I supposed to go with that? What is happening? Okay. Okay. Okay, sorry. Hang on. Let me switch my controller. I feel like my keyboard is a little bit slow today, I think. Okay. Not that I'm any better with a controller. But at least I'll know it's my fault. Hey. Okay. Oh god. Okay. Let me go back to my keyboard real quick. Okay. Oh my gosh. My controller is now crumbling. Crumbling? I'm ready. Okay. Rumbling, rumbling. Okay, I'm chilling now. Cool, 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 cool. Okay, okay. Can I break something here? And I can go either up or down. Okay. Oh, hey. Hey. Whoa, okay. That was far longer than I thought it would be. Ouch. Oh my gosh. I think if I find the right angle, I could do something cool. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. I'm not sure if that was the... Okay. Well, never mind. Ouch. Okay. Ow. Okay. I forgot to jump. Okay, I'm finishing all the games that I've been streaming. And I don't know what to play next. It is a conundrum that I found myself in. Pretty crazy. Ouch. Oh, okay, so I was going somewhere. Ouch. I guess with like adding Hello Charlotte to my schedule, schedule I call it. But like adding Hello Charlotte to my game list will be useful in a sense because I know that I have like 3 games ahead of me, and like they're not like that short. I think that'll be good at least. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. What the hell? I stopped looking at my screen because I thought I died. Oh my god. But yeah, I was thinking about I've been thinking about like the coincidence with like having finished Look Outside right when starting October. Oh, that's a bird. When starting like October, like spooky month, Halloween and everything. We don't really like celebrate it in my country. I don't think it happens that much in South America as a whole. Hello, Grandma. Um, but it's still pretty funny that like Look Outside spooky game. I finished it like starting October, and that I'm starting to play an RPG horror game, RPG Maker horror game like Hello Charlotte, the series as a whole, like on October. Just a funny coincidence. Oh, hello again. Of course you're here. Calling it quits, I see. No, I fell. It's over. That's probably for the best. The mountain doesn't pull any punches. Yeah, I get it. I was strong enough to climb your stupid mountain. You can laugh at me if you want. Oh my gosh. I didn't mean actually laugh. Sometimes you gotta know when to throw in the towel. Oh my gosh. You'll get over it. But not on top of it. You know what? I had a lot of time to think climbing out of this cave. And I'm already over it. That part of me was right. I can't do this. I'll just go home to my sad life and be miserable forever. You clearly aren't over it. Shut up, I know. I don't want to give up. But no matter how hard I try, she sabotages me every step of the way. A lot of kids come here to climb this mountain only to give up. It's a shame that you fell. I was starting to think you'd make it. What makes me so special? I've never met someone so angry at themselves. Honestly, I thought you reached the summit just to spite yourself. Gee, thanks. This girl you're talking about, it sounds like she's holding you back. Talk to her. Figure out why she's so scared. You think she's scared? I guess I never thought of it that way. Stop wasting both of our time and ask her. What have you got to lose? Ah. Dialogue and self-reflection is the... Oh, whoopsie. She's part of you, right? If you look for her, she won't take long to find. So you know about the mountain's power. Of course I know, I live here. I tried to warn you. You need to work on your messaging. A glimpse at the truth is good for people. Even if most can't accept what they see. There's no shame in running back to your car and driving away. Someday you'll be ready, then you'll come back. Now, I'm going to see this through. No more running. I thought so. Good luck. Yippers! So yeah, self-reflection and dialogue. Yay! I didn't. Oop. Oh, okay. Yippee! Oh. Okay, that was close. Oh, hey. There's an opening here. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me try that. Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Okay. Ow. Oh my god. Ouch. Okay, well. Okay. Oh, I did it. Let's go. I'm goated. Oh, okay. Oh, well. I really like this. Oh, okay, well. Gravity be damned. You look funny. Let's go out. Oh my god. Wah! Oh, cool. Okay. First time that it slows down before colliding. Perhaps that means something. Looking for me. I thought you were done with me. That was a mistake. I'm sorry. You think you've got it all figured out. You think you don't need me. I said I'm sorry. We need to move past this. You expect me to trust you. You aren't innocent here either. But I know you're scared. Look, we're at rock bottom. There's no point in fighting. I can keep digging. Oh, good line. I could pull us down to the center of the earth. What would be the point? Well, that's just cheesy. Let's climb out of here together. As a team. Come close to me and I'll make you regret it. Whoa! Whoa! Oh, I remember. Flip. Oh, cool. Okay. Whoa, okay, that's weird. I really like this. This is really good. You got laser eyes? Oh my god. What? Okay, I forgot to jump. Okay, whatever that was. I forgot to dodge that. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, well. I tried to be based. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Ah, crap. Okay. Ow, okay. No, I want to be cool. I want to be cool. I try to be cool, but it kills me. I must be cringe. I simply have to be cringe. Okay, cool. Oh. Okay. Well. Shisa. Oh my god. Well. Yellow. Hello, Marks. Good to see you. Good to see you. What's up? Oh my gosh. I almost get hit by that. Oh my god. I almost get hit by that. Okay, well that's just kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Whoa. What is up, sis? I am so good. Ouch. I am so good. I am getting over my edgy era, as you may be seeing. Battle and fight, hell yeah. 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 Oh, how you use the flower, the feather, like the feather. You get it like meditation and self dialogue and self perception. Hell yeah, beautiful. I love to see it. Whoop. I love to see. Oh my god. Oh god. And the what the hell? Okay, there we go. Well, of course. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Oh, sheesh. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Did you know that for this chapter and also the Mirror Temple speedrunners get the B-side save and just do that because it's faster than the base chapter. So like they consider getting the B-side tape like getting done with the chapter. Doesn't make sense to me. Whoop. Interestingly enough, I got the B-side tape thinking that it was like making progress. Like I thought I was making progress for the actual chapter. That was funny. Ow. I just missed it. Oh, okay, well. my gosh. Okay, cool. You're not even waiting for the stones to fall. Okay, cool. Oh my god. Eh. Ow, okay. Which is, oh, yeah, if you do the B side of a chapter, you also complete it, huh? Which is odd, because you think they force you to do the A sides, given those are the ones that have lore and whatnot. Yeah, that is funny, huh? Oh shit, well. I don't think it's working anymore. Oh, never mind, yeah, it is. Okay. I'll just do it normally. I didn't see that. I have to do the thing all over again. Ouch. Why did I jump? Okay. Okay, I'm chilling, I'm chilling, I'm chilling. I did you a favor. I can add read and play. Actually, yeah, I can. You aren't a mountain climber. I'm just trying to help you. None of this would have happened if you had listened to me. Lisa! Oh, okay. Mario Brothers ass. Okay, cool. Interesting. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. Also, I just have to highlight this moment. I know which plugin or effect the composer, the musician who made this song used, which is really interesting. Like, yeah, and this part with the voices, the weird distortion. I know exactly which plugin. I know exactly which preset even, which is really funny. Anyway, this stone, like right, the one that moves, looked like a YouTube logo, which is funny as well. Whoa! No, okay, it don't work. Okay, well. Oh, ouch. Oh, I didn't see that. This part of chapter 6 is music. Yerp. Wow. Wow. Okay, okay. I have to highlight the... Yeah, well... I don't know, man. Oh, sheesh. Composer. Composer. I think I said it right now. Oh, crap. Okay. Oh, good. You can just do that. Wow. The music person, yeah. Oh. Ouch. Hmm. Okay, okay. I think you can do something funny here. Okay, no. Okay. Yeah, you can, you can. You just have to be wild with it. Go crazy. Yeah, that. Ow. Okay, well. Okay, yeah, I need a... Whoa. There we go. You can always do something funny in Celeste. Hell yeah. That was funny. Ow. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Okay, I didn't notice that. Do we have to do it? Oh, okay. Okay, well. I think this chapter's B-side is a chapter in which I die the most. Really? Hmm. Well, skill issue. It was not that hard. Not for me. I'm chilling, I'm chilling. I was so close. I was so close. Okay, let's go. Youch. I forgot to... I forgot to kill her. Oh. I was like... I know what your next line will be. Oh, cool. That was metal. Okay, well. That's unfortunate. Yahoo! Let's go. Hello. Fine. Yeah, the chapter's B-side was hard in my opinion. Fair enough, fair enough. First it was Kevin Block. Kevin Block, hell. The battle line? Oh, okay, I didn't do this one. I don't recall a battle line section. What am I saying? You win. I guess you don't need me after all. You want me to go away? I'll try. It's not what I want. I need your help now more than ever. Please, let's work together. Together. You're joking, right? It's okay to be scared. I feel like most times my microphone doesn't catch my GPs. So I feel like it didn't. Something I have to work on. Exactly. Oh, I can move, right? No, no, no. I cannot. It's an animation. Level up. Holy shit. Cool. Cool stuff. Oh, okay. I was going about it as if... Okay. That was awkward. It, can you wave dash something, or can you not do that yet? I don't think. If you consider this as a wave dash, but it really isn't. She dyed her hair. Pretty sure Nya can do double jump. What's a double jump mechanic? Oh, cool stuff. How did we do that? Through the power of friendship. If we can climb like that, maybe we can still reach the summit. You still want to climb the mountain? No, it's because he's Brazilian. Making double jump. Oh, so it's a thing there, huh? Why would we go back up there? Hello, Grandma. Can you please stop bothering me? It's good to see you two playing nice. Hey, thanks for talking some sense into me earlier. Don't mention it. You can... I'm glad I can still be useful every now and then. Madeline! Madeline, you're okay. I ran down to help, but it looks like you're doing fine. Thanks, Theo. Honestly, maybe that fall was what I needed. This is the part of you that you were talking about? She's like an adorable god, Madeline. That's basically the fandom's opinion. Fandom. Aye. You were right, Theo. I shouldn't be afraid of her. If her and I work together, I think we can still finish the climb. That's so rad. Hey, no. I didn't agree to this. You said we'd talk about things first. You're right. I understand that you're scared. But we both know that this is something we want to do. We have to try it one last time. I can wall jump. Queer identity keeps me from the double jump ability, but my level 100 acrobatics make up for it. Cool shit. Cool shit. Cool shit. Yeah, you've got this. I don't know. We're so close, and then we fell. The mountain tore us apart. Yeah, that happened. But I have to believe we can put that behind us. Or below us, if you will, like getting on top of it. Anyway, I have to believe we're capable of this. Not a bad idea. It'll still be difficult, mind you. But I'm amazed you got as far as you did, butting heads like you were. I reckon you can make it if you cooperate. I think I can dodge roll, gives me iframes. And then invincibility frames. Oh, cool shit. Like Dark Souls. That's hilarious. Okay. I'll try. Can I help? You've already done so much for me. Let me hold your back at least. Good idea. This won't take long. God damn, she confident. I'll be back before you say chapter complete. Cool stuff. 144, that's not bad at all. I've seen worse for myself. In fact, it was here. 205. You see? Okay. The summit. Let me drink some water. Okay. Let us go. Right, I have a second dash. Alrighty. Whoa, that worked. Okay. Da-da-dum. Wait, so if we have pink hair when we're like two of us in one body. Oh yeah, probably it's gotta hydrate, right? Yeah, man. Sadly, not like resilience. I know that you guys have like a separate body part for that. Kinda jealous. I envy that shit. So if we have pink hair when it's two of us, and we have like a red hair when it's one of us, what about the blue hair? Ever think about that? Okay. Oh, hang on. So nothing here? Nothing there. And I died. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Okay. I had another dash. Okay. Okay. Oh my god. What the hell was that? Oh my gosh. Okay. Was there something up here? I saw something up there. I swear I did. Like, you can see that there's a... Oh, okay. It's from the other side. Okay, well... What the hell? Oh my... What? When? When? What? Whatever. I will ignore it. Maybe the gap through the spikes? Or just ignore it. Yeah. Wait. Oh, cool, huh? What is this? Oh, cool, okay. Strawberries. I didn't get any strawberries last time. What? Okay, I get it. Ow. Oh my. Oh yeah, chapter 6 has no strawberries. Oh good. To compensate, chapter 7 has a bajillion of them. That's good. It always should have a bajillion of them. Oh, okay. Hang on. exactly do you do this? Oh, well, you just have to try hard enough. That's all. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm just being silly. I'm not even trying. Oh, okay. This is so cute. That is adorable. We're getting the hang of that. If you say so. This mountain doesn't stand a chance. Wow. Stop jinxing it. Yo. 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 Okay. Well, I did not expect to actually get that. Okay. I see it. I see it. Okay. Wait. Oh. Oh? Oh, you can get to something. Okay, more strawberries, I guess. Oh, okay. Ah! Play. Okay. Da-da-ba-bum. Da-da-da. Uh-huh. Okay. Ba-da-da-bum. Okay, that was cool. That's just mean. What? I don't think I even need that in the first place. Or do I? No, I don't think I don't. I don't think so. Okay. Wow, okay. That was cool. Scary. There's a... Okay. What the hell is this? Ouch. Oh, okay. Okay. Ouch. What is this? Oh. Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know what that was. What is this? Oh, cool. Oh, okay. Whoop. How does this work? Okay, okay, that's it. Okay. Eh. Okay. That hurt my soul. Okay. Oh my gosh. I forgot. I need to lay down for a second. That was the dumbest way to die. Trademark. Oh my god. That was simply the dumbest way to die. Oh my gosh. Okay. Whatever. We're continuing. Oh crap. I'm like speedrunners if they were concentrated on finding new ways to die in this game. Okay, cool. Okay. Got it. Okay. Oh my. Okay, there we go. Oh my. Oh, cool. This is not gonna drop? Oh, now it does, of course. That's simply mean, honestly. That is simply mean. How come it didn't do that before? What the hell? Okay. I wasn't grabbing it or something? Okay. Cool. Yippee! How are you feeling? I'm fine. I'm just waiting for something to go wrong. No matter what happens, I'll be right there with you. You know what's really scary? That you'll be right there with me. I'm starting to believe you. My Twitch is like the Ouroboros, it's constantly devouring itself. Oh no, dude. Oh no, dude. Really funny though. Oh, hey, I remember. Ouch. Da, 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 da. Oh, I cannot dash. Okay. Weren't we literally here before? That is... No, no. Actually, no. Okay. I'm fine with that. I don't mind. I don't mind. Okay. Oh, cool. Okay, I just gotta remember. I just gotta remember not to do that the last time. Yeah, like that. Well, okay. Okay. Da da dum da da. Okay. Da da dum da da da. Da 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 da. Oh. What the fuck am I doing? What was that? Okay. Anything here? Yeah, of course. I'm gonna go to bed, sis. Good luck on finishing the climb. Thank you, thank you. Good night, good night. As well. Oop. I just gotta use my head. Yeah, like that. Okay, Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my god. We're chilling. Oh, cool. Oh my god. This is gonna make me cry, dude. Okay. Wait, what if we went up? Oh no, that's just background. I think I ignored a lot of things. Okay. Dream blocks are so fun. Probably my favorite mechanic gimmick in this game. They're cool. They're cool, yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, okay. They're really cool, actually. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I agree with you. I almost killed myself. Wow. Um. Ouch. Beep, boop, beep. Okay, huh? Huh? Why am I dashing? Yeah, I need to dash. Never mind. Oh, okay, good, 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 good. So many strawberries. I'm not doing this one. it's going it's going back. Wow, that's fun. Oh, that's not fun. Oh, that ain't fun either. I just came here because I could get my dashes back. And I still die. No, that's fine, that's fine. Alright. Wow, 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 wow. Why? Drop onto it. Okay, I'm shrilling. I am shrilling. Eh. What? Oh. Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, good, 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 good. Nice job back there. Look at you. This positivity over here. You're so supportive. Don't push your luck. Push, push, push. I mean. Mr. Oshiro, I've come to save you. What the fuck did I just do? Okay. Okay, I died the most times in this map for a reason. I just want to go home. Better than be like... Actually, I don't care about going home. I just want to get out of here. I hated these things. Oh my gosh. I just want to get over it, so... Oh gosh. Ugh. Okay. What is this? Oh, B-side. Cool. Okay. This chapter is rather long. I'm gonna get dinner. Hopefully I'll be back. Have fun. Thank you. You as well. With your dinner. All the way there. Oh. Hang on. What am I supposed to do here? Okay, I just... Huh? Okay, My brain isn't braining right now. I really like the how it plays with the melody. Or I guess the use of leitmotif. Oh, so okay. Okay. I keep playing like I only have one dash. Maybe that's why I felt like it was kind of difficult. That is mean. That strawberry is mean. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like this. I'll just go. You know, this is kind of like a B-side map. You know? Rhythm based. And based on rhythm you can touch certain things or you cannot. For different but similar reasons. Okay. I hate this. Please! Deliver me from this hell. Oh. No. Oh god, okay. Ah! Okay, cool. Holy shit. Holy shit. Ah, okay. Oh, right. Oh, my dashes. Okay, I can just walk at the start. Yeah, I can just do that. That is so mean. And I forgot to walk. Oh. Good lord. Okay. I won't cry on stream. I won't cry on stream. Oh god. Okay, I see this. Okay, hang on. Um. Hmm. What the hell? Okay, well. Oh. Okay. I never knew of those achievements thingy. Yo, I want to go. Of course. Hell no. I need to stretch. I'm stretching. Let me drink some orange juice. Alrighty, I am so back. New mind. Same failures. Oh, I did that. Oh, good. We are about to get out of here. What the hell is that, dude? I am so mentally sane right now. Thank God. Oh yeah, good stuff, good stuff. I hope Mr. Oshiro is okay. Watching me die over and over again is not good content. Why? He treated you like garbage. Yeah, but I still care about him. And you didn't have to snap at him like you did. Whatever. I mean it, you're way too aggressive. Well, you put too much energy into bad people who'll just end up hurting you. Mr. Oshiro isn't a bad person. He transformed into a monster. He tried to hurt you. And now you're defending him? I'm not defending him. I'm on your side here. I'm mad at him too. I might still be in that hotel if you hadn't forced the issue. But I still hope he's alright. Okay. I'm sorry for snapping at Mr. Oshiro. Thanks. It's in the past now. Hell yeah. I love dialogue. I love resolving issues through speech. Well, not through speech, but yeah. What's that? What? Huh? Oh gosh. Okay. Oh. Okay. I can do this. Yeah. Oh, okay. Whoa. Got it. Okay. Cool stuff. Oh no, I do not like these either. But they're a lot better than the alternative. I can just go back. And I want to cop, but I'm in the middle or something. Ouch. Okay, I'm not in. Okay, there we go. Okay. I don't. Wait. Wait. Yeah, okay, well. This might be. So that's. Whoa. Oh my god, that was so close. Okay. Ouch. What the hell am I doing here? What the hell was that? Oh wow. Let's just try again. Let's just wait for a bit. Okay. Okay. I am having fun. But this is such... I don't think this is a good game for me to stream. Simply said. I need to focus on either one thing or the other. either talking or playing. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I I have the impulse to go right there. I'm not sure. Oh my god. Is this a whatever. Ouch. Oop. Oh. Okay. Yeah. I tried it. Oh my. Okay, okay, okay. It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's completely. I am. All right. There we go. Okay, cool. I see. I had to do all of it. Okay. I love that you have to like take. I love that you have to take advantage of the slight delay there is with the wind when changing direction. I like that. Cool detail. Well, cool attention to detail, I guess. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now I got it. I will lock in. I am locking in. I am locking in. Right now. I'm just bad at the game. It's not even about like focusing. I'm just bad at it. That was painful. Oh, God. Oh, my God. We're never getting to the top of the mountain at this rate. That was a close one. You have no idea. Yeah, I wasn't sure if we'd make it. Maybe you were right. Maybe this is too dangerous. Yeah, we've died a couple of times. No, I was wrong. We can climb this mountain. I've got your back. And I believe in you. That means a lot to me. Hey bears! Me when I believe in myself. The music. Oh God, not the temple. Okay. Hang on. What if I... Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay, I did like these things. Oh, okay. I am suffering. Okay. I need to do something chill after this, honestly. Okay. Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay. How? What? Huh? Oh yeah, we have to. I don't know. Oh. Okay. Well. Okay. Let me think. Oh my gosh, I remember the B-side map. Like the B-side thing for this map. That was horrible. I remember that from this room. Like because of this room. Oh my gosh. Oh god. Okay. Let's just go. Ah, can we go up? I knew it. It's a strawberry. Oh, but you can also you can also go right. I wonder what that's about. Uh-huh. Oh, okay. I didn't reach it. Oh. Okay. Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh shit. Oh god. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, good stuff. Shit. Uh, what is this? Oh, cool. Oh. Yeah, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. This is it. The home stretch. We're so close. We're gonna make it. Yeah. What's wrong? I'm just sorry. I was holding you back. I need to learn to trust you. It's not your fault. I tried to leave you behind. And honestly, I've been trying to leave you behind my entire life. I'm sorry. I wish I tried to understand you sooner. I was too proud or stubborn or something. You wasted so much time and energy. At least we're finally talking about it. Yeah. I'm glad the mountain brought you out. I think we can move past this. If we can climb this mountain together, we can do anything. But if we don't make it, I'd be okay with that. You would. Of course. I'm just glad we're trying. I really needed to do this. I'm finally starting to understand why. Let's finish it. Yahoo! Okay. Please make this easy. Hey, cute. Oh, I thought that was a secret entrance or something. Let's go. Whoa, 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 whoa. Cool stuff. Oh, okay. I thought that was rain. Oh, oh, hey! The things! Okay. Yep, that's my bad. Oh, okay. Oh, it is counting down. That's cool as hell. Do 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 do. Ow. Do 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 do. Dum. Do 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 dum. Bleep. Do 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 do. Oh. Oh. Do do do. Woo! Well. Yeah, I was gonna just spam it. No! No, 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 don't do this to me. Oh my god. Oh my god. That was terrifying. Okay. Oh, right, okay. Okay. I get it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Just checking. What? Okay, now fuck, okay. Okay. No excuses. Ouch. There we go. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh god. Okay. Oh. Lock in someday. Yeah. Yep. I had to lock in. Oh, hey, I thought I had a second dash. Ouch. Okay, there we go. Uh-huh. There we go. Okay. 12. Okay, it's fine. Oh gosh. Oh, shit. I keep trying to dash before I get the thing. Okay. Okay, I love doing that on my first try. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Right, I only have one dash. Okay, okay. Like, at that spot. How the hell do I do that? Actually. Right, okay. Okay, it has to be a diagonal dash. I just have to... I simply have to do this. Okay. Oh, wow, okay. No. That ain't it. Uh-huh. Huh. Okay. Seven. Let's go. Let's go. 6. Oh, clouds. Okay. Uh, 5. Oh my. 4. 3. Fuck. Fuck. Oh wow. Whoa, the camera changed there. Holy shit, what the hell was that? Okay, well that was unnecessary. Okay, be ready for the change, I guess. 2. Okay. What? Okay. Yeah, it makes sense, I guess. Okay, hang on, let me... There we go. No! Come on! Okay. Okay. Okay, 1! Change the music. Oh my gosh. He did it. We won the battle royale. I need to stand up for a little. I need to stretch. Okay. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year. Ugh, my shoulders hurt. Okay, we actually did it. I can't believe it. Oh, it's so beautiful. Look at how far we've come. Come. Did I pronounce that in a funny way? That's my bad. I'm glad I got to see this before I pass away. Oh, before I. Oh, right. Okay, cool exposition. When we leave the mountain, you won't be able to talk to me anymore. At least not like this. I know that we need to go home eventually, but it'll be scary to lose his body. Buddy. What a bummer. You'll still exist, though. Were part of me before we came here. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to depend on you to listen to me. Even if I can't talk to you in person anymore. Just can't go back to how it was before. Before the mountain. Don't worry. I can go back to that either. I really want us to work together from now on. I believe you. I'm so nervous. Oh, now what? Just enjoy this for a bit. Beautiful art. Incoming. Oh, incoming. Good, good, good. Oh, they start walking together. That's cute. Of course, this is a beautiful game. I don't even have to like say it. It's pretty obvious. I don't need to say anything. The game speaks for itself. This is fucking adorable. What could I say that hasn't been said about this? Cute things. Wave dash, Madeline, wave dash. Good stuff. Production kitties? Mr. Satan. Amazing. The birdie. Birdie. Stuff. Okay. More platforming. Oh, whoops. Never mind. Welcome back. Madeline. Did you make it to the summit? Yeah, we did. It was incredible. Beautiful, isn't it? I didn't think it would be worth it. But it totally was. What, I didn't leave for that long? I am simply too good. I am simply amazingly good. I should have given you my phone so you could take the ultimate selfie. Ultimate selfie. Good evening, everyone. What are you doing here? A little bird told me there was to be a party. I left for an hour. God dang it, you didn't have to say it, you know? RSVP by Bird. Positively magical. But if I am unwelcome, I should take my leave. My English. Please stay, Mr. Oshira. It's good to see you. You know, this is the first time I've seen you outside that hotel of yours, Oshira. I'm glad you made it. Yo! Madeline here is baking us a pie with all of the strawberries she's been collecting. Oh, that's wonderful, Miss Madeline. Whatever. I haven't had strawberry pie since I was a kid. This is gonna be amazing. Don't get your hopes up, she's not much of a baker. You also said I wasn't a mountain climber. Yo? True. I can't promise it'll live up to the hype, Theo. But I try my best. When did you bake the pie, huh? So? How's it taste? I'm impressed. This gives my baking a run for its money. Not bad. Holy crap. This is so tasty. Shut the hell up. Miss Madeline, are you available to cater our reopening banquet? The banquet? Whatever. Can I take a slice home for Alex? Oh my gosh. I used all my brain power for this game. Holy shit. She'll die when she tastes this. I am using the last of my brain cells here. Oh, I didn't miss that many strawberries. I'm impressed. And I didn't reach 1,000 deaths. It's good. Oh. My game stopped working. Let's just wait for a bit. You missed 74. Yeah, Yeah, less than I expected. Oh yeah, this s- stop responding. Let's just wait for it just for a sec. Oh my gosh. Oh no, you have to chapter 7 again now. No. Okay, this really did stop working though. Pretty funny. Well, yeah. Um, so what, what should I do? um, I'm so big the computer couldn't handle it for real. It was so cool. It literally froze. Okay, well, I'll just close it. It was not working anymore. um. Okay, so how long have I? I mean, almost 3 hours. That like took away my brain power. Actually, that's impressive. That is impressive. Strawberry pie killed them. Yep, it was all planned from the beginning. The strawberries that I didn't get, yeah, I replaced them with poison actually. Oh, yeah, I put some music. Oh my god, my brain. My brain. Also, I have no idea what to use for a background in times like these. Background. Let me look for some. Let me look for something. Oh, I love this song. Hey, this is just my liked songs. It's not even a playlist. I mean, I do have good taste in music, but it's pretty like doesn't have a. It's not cohesive. What I meant. Okay, hang on. Let me look for an image. Ugh, my shoulder. My shoulders really hurt. um, let me see. Uh, oh, this could work. Just a second. To add a image capture. No, image. Yeah, image. Uh-huh. Image file. I simply download it. There we go. I just put that there. This is it. Pull up Weezer. Nah. Nah. God, I am so sleepy. Holy shit. Oh my god. Okay. This is it. It doesn't even fit completely well. Hang on. It's there we go. Perfect. My alarm. Okay. Ouch. Okay. So that's the end of that game. So how is our game list looking like today? Well, now. Uh-huh. Okay, so Celeste. I'll move it to finished. Oop. So with this, this is the third game that I finished on stream. That is crazy. That is crazy. This is me attempting to dash after completing Celeste. For real. You gotta try the in real life wave dash. Oh my gosh. So what other games am I streaming soon? Well, we have to finish Finding Paradise. And I'm gonna start streaming Hello Charlotte this Sunday. That's gonna be really fun. I'm telling y'all, it's gonna be really fun. And what else? I can stream Rocket League or League of Legends, but I don't know. I don't know. Quickly think about it, Deltarune. I am thinking of Deltarune, definitely. I am thinking. Yeah, for now, this is that is all. Well, you maybe try to do the rest of Celeste's content at a later date. So no way. Well, okay. Maybe, but not on stream. Definitely not on stream. Maybe I can like do it on the Discord server, but not on stream. Not good content. Ugh. Yeah, Celeste is a beautiful game. Again, like I repeat, I don't really need to say much about it. Like people know how beautiful a game it is. And like the philosophy that we started joking about like earlier on stream, it was just like a half a joke. Like the themes that it talks about, it's pretty neat how it does. Ooh, I am throwing tomatoes at you. Would be here forever. No, yeah, that is true. That is simply true. So it's better to be here forever on the Discord server. Let me link that because it's good timing. It is simply good timing. So let me link that real quick. Oh yeah. It is simply good timing. So well that's true. A whole stream dedicated to just one screen may not be the most fun. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. You get it. You get it. So yeah. Um what else can I say about the game? I found like a lot more content than I thought was in the game. Like I finished this like many years ago. I'm not sure if there are updates or what, but like there's a lot more content than and I noticed before. That's really cool. Like good replayability potential, you know? You know. At least if you're not a completionist. Sorry, like you're unless you are a completionist and you'll probably do everything on the first try, on the first time, first playthrough. Uh huh. I am running out of words, out of sentences. Some funny updates. I've started actually working on my visual novel for a change. I actually have like something playable, which is really fun. Um, but it's just like a silent screen and text. For now, I plan for the game, well, for the visual novel or game, I plan to I plan to not only have my music, but also some friends' music. So like expect good stuff. Yeah. It's a really dear project to me, so I'm putting a lot of work on it. I definitely have put a lot of work on like revisiting the script that I had written like years ago, and like writing over it and like editing and like basically remaking it. I am proud of it. So be proud of it with me when it comes out. It's definitely a passion project. Yeah, this is it. This is how it looks so far. Let me show you my mouse. Oh, actually, I can't. Never mind. Yeah, I just click and more text comes out. Well, that's fun. I skipped by accident. Hang on, let me go back. Um, main menu. Uh-huh. You just start it. So there's basically like a text right now. I did a couple of things. I'm just gonna work on the art, on the music, on the coding as well, and simply have fun with it. Simply have fun with it. And it's gonna be fun for you as well. I'm pretty sure, I am quite confident in my current writing style. I think it's good enough. So I think that's all I have to say for now. Next stream will be on Friday, and that'll be. I am sleepy. I shall leave. Fair enough. Have a good night's sleep. Rest well and take care. Take care, and thank you for passing by. I appreciate you. Have a good one. Yes, well, yes, well. Goodbye, goodbye. And so on Friday, I am streaming Finding Paradise. Okay, that sounds like a plan. And I want to go to sleep. So let's go to sleep, everyone. Thank you for passing by. I appreciate you. Thank you for experiencing this game together with me. I appreciate that. I hope I'll keep seeing